everybody, Crazy Bob here. Today I want to talk about something, and I'm going to demonstrate something that isn't really a BMW issue per se, but everybody's probably had this at some point. If you've been driving a car for any period of time, you're going to get a flat tire at some point. There's going to be a nail in your tire. And some tire shop might tell you, oh, you need a new tire. Well, I'm going to show you today what to look for if you have a tire that's losing air, have a nail in your tire. What can we repair, what can't we repair? And then I'm going to show you how a cheap little $8 plug kit fixes a tire. So my F-150 happened to be doing this. So yes, it's not a BMW, but same principles apply. If you have run flats, they say don't do it. If it was my run flat, well, I would try. So in any case, let's get started. So here's my nail, and take note of where it is. So if it's here, anywhere along this middle line to about right here, anywhere not closer than about half an inch to an inch from the sidewall, you should be good. Now, if this nail were right here, then I'd have to replace this tire. If the nail were any closer to the sidewall, I'd most likely also have to replace the tire. So being kind of the the somewhat passive lazy about stuff sometimes, I noticed that the tire was losing air, and I figured it probably had a nail in it, but I was hoping this nail may be sealed to the point that I'll just drive these tires until they're done, and then who cares. Unfortunately, I put a little soap around it, and if you observe little bubbles, then that's your indicator that there's a leak going on. So before we get started, before I take some pliers to pull this out, I do recommend relieve most of the air, or all of the air if you can. And so in my case, I unfortunately, there's a special little valve stem that on the reverse side, you just push it into the valve stem and it releases the air. I'm using the old-fashioned tool. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm going to go ahead and release the air, and I'm not going to bore you with that, so stay tuned. So, I've let most of the air out of the tire. Got my nail not pulled yet. Make sure to have a kit like this, similar to this. Doesn't have to be slime. I didn't even realize that when I bought it. Why would you call it slime? But anyway, so this kit has these little black tar-looking, sticky little things. You're going to thread them through, and we're going to go ahead and punch it through here after we clean it all up, and run this little abrasive nail-looking rod through there a couple times to give it a good base to stick to and hopefully plug things. So without further ado, let me go ahead and find something suitable to pull that nail, and on we go. So I've got a few different tools I'm going to try. None of them are specific tools that are nail pulling tools. I'm going to try a pair of wire cutters. I don't even know what to call these. I've had these for years. I've hardly ever used them, so why not try and use them for that? And then last but not least, I'll try these curved needle nose pliers. So got our nail here. Let's take a look at what we can do. And there it goes. And the last little bit of air that's still in there, I'm going to let that go ahead and just bleed itself out, because guess what? I don't want any kind of pressure against the plug that I'm going to put in. Alright, we're looking good. So looking at our nail, this puppy is only about maybe a half an inch, if that. So it doesn't take much to to get a tire to lose air. And probably one of the most dangerous things you can have is low air pressure. So I would always recommend checking your tires frequently, at least monthly, because this sucker was already visible and it had about 25 psi left, supposed to have 40. So probably not real good for the tire. Being that I'm in Arizona and I'm not driving like I was in Germany, this truck's not going to go over 60 miles an hour, so I'm going to fix it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use the reamer tool that has kind of a sandpaper effect on the tire when I go into it. I'm going to go to the nail hole, and I'm basically just going to ream my way into there. And it kind of seems like you're doing damage, but you're not. The tire already has a hole. You can't make it any worse. So I kind of cheated while you guys weren't watching. Sometimes, like in the case of this nail, the nail was in there. Oh, come on, back out, baby. The nail was in there so lightly that it didn't puncture all the way through the other side a whole lot. So I cheated. So I used a really small drill bit and drilled it through so that I could get the reamer tool through. Whew! Now that we've done that, I'm going to clean it up a little more one more time. There's a few little metal sparkles there. I'm going to clean those up, and then we're going to go ahead and plug it. So the stuff that we're going to use to plug it is this kind of tarry, stringy thing. So I do recommend wearing gloves, by the way. And you're going to stick it through the needle tool here, about halfway through. And so the idea is when we plug it, it's going to do this. And when this gets all the way in there, there'll be some left over, and we're going to shave that off. Dun, dun, dun. Getting ready to coat this baby, so I'm going to go ahead and coat it with some rubber cement. Oh, yikes. Doesn't hurt to get a little on the hole there. No pun intended. Yikes, I'm making a mess, man. There, a little more. All right. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and stick this baby in there. There we go. All right, I'm in there. I think I'm in there. Let me go in there a little more. All right, and now I'm just gonna pull straight up. And as you see, it cuts. I know a few of you are probably wondering, well, what the hell? It's gonna come back out with it. Well, it actually doesn't. There's a split there, and it actually cuts it. So this bottom edge cuts it. Man, whew, out of breath already. And so now let's take a look at what our tire looks like. I hope the camera was angled right. I forgot to angle it. So you see these? Here, let's get a little closer on that. You see these little fellers right there? I'm just gonna leave this like this. I'm gonna walk away for a little bit. And in about a half an hour, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go ahead and cut those off, put air in it, and see what we got. So, there's our repair. Cut it off. I like cutting it a little bit below the actual tread wear. I don't want it to be riding on that nub, but nonetheless, so it's a hair below there in my case. They say you can shave it off even, but that's up to you. So let's put some air in this thing and the big moment. So We've got our plug in there. We've waited a little while. I'm going to just pour a little bit of soap all around and just cover the plug. Just all the way around it. And then I'm going to put my glasses on to see if I can see any bubbles. Let's see if I can get you close in there. So you see any bubbles there? If you do, send me something, because I'm blind if that's the case, because I see nothing, not a bubble. So this thing's got 40 psi on it. I see no bubbles. I think we did it. So that's how you do a tire. So all in all, had I not done this video with you, this would have probably taken me about 15 minutes. So a decent tire shop will probably do something like this for you. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, you're probably looking at 30-40 bucks. That's probably the minimum if you get a good shop. If you get a bad shop, they'll tell you, oh no, that can't be repaired. We got to put a new tire on there. And I know so many people that have fallen for that. And it just really is upsetting, because this plug is going to last, provided there's no other nails. This thing's going to last until this tire's done. And so that's kind of how it should be. So without further ado, another episode. Sorry I haven't sent out stuff more frequently. Life gets in the way. But I'll try to do as many as I can. Let me know if you want something else. I can do videos on non-car stuff too. So with that, take care. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this, and see you later.